very welcome by the government, which has been stressing on technology, on digitization. It's a very futuristic budget. If you look at what the government has done, it has taken steps in digitizing universities, digitizing education, digitizing healthcare in a big way. For the first time, getting into mental health. It is talking of digital rupee by RBI. It is also decided to tax the cryptocurrency, which means de facto or de jure. It has accepted cryptocurrencies, though they don't want to call it currency, which is technically correct. So my topic is digital, the big push in the budget, and can cryptocurrency, the heaven for narco business, be tamed? We will take this up later because that is a very contentious issue. Because though a lot of people are talking greatly about the use of cryptocurrencies, but we also know, we have touched upon at the previous discussions also, about the issue of uh, use of cryptocurrency for illicit trade, illicit businesses. So we'll come to that later. First of all, my starting question is this digitization of our country in various aspects. What do the guests think about it? I have on a panel, distinguished panel, Mr. K Jain, former ADGP, and also former head of police complaint redressal cell, where he was chairman from 2017 to 2020. He started this particular activity from scratch. Academically, he is an MA in English, an MBA, a bachelor in journalism with gold medal. And this was a news to me for a policeman to be also in journalism. And he is also diploma in Gandhian philosophy, and he has done his LLB in 2018. So he is an eternal student, I would say, eternal in search of new knowledge. And it makes me very happy that I decided to do my PhD at the age of 60. So I think so I have good company. And he also started the Maharashtra State Security Corporation, and he was the first vice chairman. And now that particular corporation has 14,000 employees. जरा MR Venkatesh से बात कर लीजिए आप. So, and he has not only that, he has taken path-breaking initiatives. I can't recall all. I can't recount all of them because of lack of time. And he has been instrumental in starting Citizen Felicitation Center with a rate of 90% redressal of the complaints received. He also digitized 5 control rooms. So we are lucky to have him in a topic where we're talking of digitization of the country itself. Second person with me is Mr. Deepak Kapoor. You already met him in the earlier discussions. He's a founder of Begin India think tank, working on the policies concerning adoption of cryptocurrencies and legal, economic, policy, security, forensic, and social issues. He has huge experience in direct marketing globally in 12 businesses. He's a co-founder of Business Process Industry Association in Gurgaon, and is very happy to work with startups and also with state governments on digital forensics. My third guest, M R Venkatesh, has some problem in connecting, so he will join shortly. So, starting the discussion, my first question to Jain Saab is, what do you think of this huge push on digitization?
It's a very welcome development. I have seen that digitization in whichever field it is, it has helped the people a lot. The dependence on personal person-to-person contact is it gets reduced to minimal. A lot of benefits flowing to the consumer per se, and a lot of pilferage. I'm talking from the government point of view. A lot of pilferage of funds which used to happen has been controlled through this particular mean. And data creation. See, Aadhaar is one document in the country which has done wonders to various systems. And now Aadhaar is being introduced for the electoral presence also. Aadhaar is being introduced for a whole lot of other things. Will be in due course of time. Today there are a lot of caps on that because of the data which the government is or the UIDAI is holding, and there are concerns about that in the minds of certain people. But eventually, at some point of time, this digitization push is going to bring a lot of benefits to the last person, that is the citizen, who's the recipient of various benefits or various schemes of the government. I think it's a very, very welcome move in the health sector, education sector. I can tell you from Maharashtra itself, the first experiment that was made in Nanded district, 120,000 students were found to be bogus in one district alone. 120,000 students. And because of that, the entire grant which used to go to the politicians, and for every 30 students, there used to be a teacher. So imagine the kind of pilferage of government money which could have been used for better means was being done. It was only in one particular department. Ration cards is another. There are n number of things. Now, the direct benefit transfer which is happening to the consumers, whether it is LPG, whether it is farmers, this kind of a thing, I think, 15 years back, we just could not even think of it. But the benefits that are flowing to the consumer today, to the citizens today, is unimaginable. And whole lot of services are being made available on the net itself. You don't have to go anywhere. It is only the last connectivity when you have to go and present yourself before the passport officer. Last minute, presenting yourself before various authorities before you get certain certificates, which were in the earlier days impossible to get. People used to run from pillar to post for very small things, which is not the case today. So I think digitization in days to come has been a big boon, whatever has been done till today, and in the days to come, it is going to be the biggest boon this country will probably have. The citizen of this country will always have. Thank you.
Today on the TV, when Modi ji was there to inaugurate the Ramanujacharya memorial and temples, he was carrying a tab with information of the various temples on a tab. And TV people are wondering whether this is also to show off the digitization. I think now these are part of our life, and to treat them as some kind of marketing would be, actually very short-sighted view. MR, you are available now?
Yes, very much.
So I was talking about the huge digitization push right from health to the medical to digital universities and education and the digital rupee, cryptocurrency taxation, etc., and many other things. Even post office linked to core banking, which is a huge step, very huge step. I think people have not even understood the importance of integration. So what are views on these?
See, on part A of the budget, absolutely futuristic, absolutely welcome. In fact, it was like watching a science fi movie, interstellar movie. Okay, no doubt about it. In fact, it was classy, it was crisp, it was done very well till say 11:55. But once part B came in, it was like watching an interstellar movie and somebody spits pan parak next to you. That was the level of degeneration. It was like watching N.D. Tiwari presenting a budget in 70s or 80s. So you have to understand, on one hand, you want digitization, you have absolutely futuristic views about things. But you get into nitpicking on various things on tax laws. Like, I will tell you one thing, and this is something very interesting that I have been using this. This must be quoted several times over, because this gives us the understanding of the budget and how the finance minister has gone about it. So the finance minister talks about the budget at all places, all this digitization, everything goes about. Then suddenly she realizes that we have to do something for the manufacturing sector. And then she says, I will increase the custom duty of umbrella by 20%. Now, this umbrella, you must understand, is a fixation with all finance ministers. For what reason? I don't know. I got a list. I'll read it to you. It was prepared by my good friend Vaitishwaran. Umbrella exempted in budget 1989. Since I have been tackling budget since the 80s, I will tell you. 89. Exemption withdrawn in budget 94. Umbrellas exempted in budget 97. Umbrellas taxed through budget 2002. Umbrellas were exempt from excise duty in budget 2003. Umbrellas attracted 16% excise duty in budget 2006. Excise duty in umbrellas reduced to 8% in budget 2007. Excise duty reduced to 4% in budget 2010. Now 20% custom duty. Point I'm saying is, all this is fine. But where is the efficiency? Where is the ability of government? Where is the ability of the police? Where is the ability of your judges? Now I'll give you a simple example. Jain sir can bear me out on this. There is somebody who has forged digital signature kits. Okay. Now this will happen. I'm not saying forgery will happen. The crooks will be crooks. But do we have the police who understands digital signature kits? Then do you have the lawyers make it understand to the judges? And this infrastructure is lacking. The front end is very good. That's why our vision, nobody can fault. Our delivery is as usual abysmal. That's how I see the budget in terms of party and party.
Great, your example of tinkering with umbrella all the time. So it's a parachute.
Can I add one more thing with your permission? Chidambaram used to do something extraordinary. Whenever you used to reduce custom duty on umbrella, you used to raise the custom duty on walking sticks. And when you reduce walking sticks, you used to raise it on umbrella. Only Mr. Chidambaram can think about umbrellas and walking stick being alternatives. I'll read the other things to your...
In fact, what you talked about, Jain Saab expounded on it in a big way, how digital life has improved people's life. So no doubt about it. And
no doubt about it. I fully agree with you.
The people, which will come to that later. Broadly speaking, Deepak, what about your to show the budget?
Well, I think I will take it back many years. I was very fortunate to get into the digitization process, possibly back in 1996. I was one of the first. I was a partner in one of the first few companies that used to make web pages. I mean, it was a nightmare to tell somebody your web page address. That there were so many slashes and there were so many numeric and alphanumerics between those slashes after the www dot and whatever Satyam or whatever big ones. So that is where I started. Then the transition, we learned. Then the BPOs and call centers were taking precedence. So my tryst with a lot of data, I think that time the BPOs was equivalent to the cloud, what the cloud is today. For today's generation, it was for us data on the internet, data, for BPOs. And incidentally, fortunately, accidentally, whatever the word, one might want to use, I got into international BPOs. That was a fantastic exposure. When people did not hear of websites, mobile phones were just about coming up with applications and, touch screens were just happening. We were transferring calls directly to customers from banks over a phone call and we were doing all that. So, yeah, I mean, the evolution that has happened, I've seen that. Coming back to what Sharda ji said and, ADG Jain Saab said from his experience of policing, I was very fortunate to have been, involved in setting up, cyber training infrastructure and trainings for 9 state police, starting back in almost 2002, 2003. And I mean, I can't even start to tell you, when we walked into those places, in some places the cyber cells do not have any computers, and that's where I can start to share. But I think those were days back in time. So coming to the more present, fortunate to have been involved with the entire evolution of the digital adoption. A lot of things globally, quite a bit in India also. I've been tracking. I think everything now would be digital, including this medium that we are sitting on and sharing our views today. Who would have thought many years back?
Yeah.
So,
was there no
yes.
Zoom or no social media? How would COVID pass?
Absolutely.
My life would be
but I think that I mean the MR has covered more than brilliantly. About what the budget is, and it's been a lot has been said. I think I don't want to add much, but on the part of the digital currency, I believe we are at least 3.5 years too late. I've had the good or the bad fortune of interacting with people at Rivet, which is the technology arm of RBI, for the last since 2019, mid to end 2019. I'm not very convinced that we've still reached that stage where we can actually adopt
That would be
a world
unfair,
class
Deepak,
CB.
because the way we have adopted UPI, it is a world beater. To say that we cannot do it, point is those people who are now looking for these issues that we are today focused on, they may not be yet ready, no doubt about it. But as such, people and the industry is ready to adopt. I think that
No,
is
no,
the
industry is far ahead than the RBI. The crypto guys, you give them a chance and they will topple the world economy. They'll set up a parallel economy tomorrow morning. I'm
that
not
takes me
saying
to
there
the
is
second
dearth
very
of
important point. You want to say
yeah.
something? Okay, I want to add something.
Yes, there is already a parallel economy happening. I mean,
Yes.
there's no doubt about it. There
I'll
is
come
zero
to
doubt
that.
about it.
I'll come to that because now comes the see. I deliberately avoided the total budget discussion because that everybody is doing, and MR has put in a nutshell how the budget has gone in and out of various issues. So I will
Yeah.
just stick to what we are discussing today, the digitization issue. Now government has put a tax of 30% on cryptocurrency. We discussed it earlier also that unless we are able to trace the transactions, what kind of tax would be actually applicable. But how far it has gone, if you see, once this taxation was declared, actually, Bitcoin and all the other currencies in India gained huge ground because of the sheer market size, because they see now there is opening. So whether this is a de jure acceptance of cryptocurrency legalization or it is de facto recognition, to give you one figure, which Deepak Kapoor shared with me, Bitcoin is now one of the largest settlement networks according to Eagle Brook Advisors. The Bitcoin network settled 13.1 trillion in transactions in 2021, up 470% year on year, greater than the 13 trillion settled by Visa. Now, this is very easy to boast. This is typical marketing gimmick. We do not know how much of it is legal and how much of it is illegal. How much it is for shadow transactions, how much is for real transactions. This nobody will tell you. So, with this starting point, this is what how the Bitcoin or these entire business crypto is now going to zoom on our economies and our businesses. So, what do you think? This legalization of cryptocurrency, how far it will affect the business? We'll get into the illegality later on, but how it will affect our businesses? Digital rupee and also cryptocurrency acceptance as a legal. Some people say trading, some people say assets. That's a final point. So, how will it affect the business? M R Venkatesh, beginning with you now.
See, the first thing what the government has done, and I was in a panel where the finance secretary, Mr. Somnathan, was addressing chartered accountants in the Dubai branch or the Abu Dhabi branch of ICII day before yesterday. So I was the second speaker, and of course he was the first speaker. He made it very clear, and this example may or may not help people like Shah Rukh Khan. The point is, if you pay tax or if you don't pay tax, okay, it is only what tax you are found to be in violation of. In other words, if you pay tax, you can't claim legitimacy of a particular transaction. The reverse is not true. If you don't pay tax, it is not that the transaction is legitimate. If you pay tax, it is not that the transaction becomes legitimate. Even if you do narcotics, let us assume for a moment that Deepak ji indulges in narcotics and he does trading in narcotics and he has made a profit of 1 crore. Sarkar bolti hai, baki 70 crore jo karna hai, 70 lakh jo karna hai, kar lo. You do whatever you want. But first pay me this 30 lakhs. So Nirmala ji has made a first charge on the profit of Deepak ji, alleged to have made profit from the alleged transaction of narcotics. Likewise, in cryptos, they say we have not yet come to a conclusion whether it is legit, whether it is acceptable, whether it is whether it challenges the sovereignty of the country or not. So, so they have said, first let us tax whatever profit you have made. Baki sab we will see later on. Having said that, I can see that the government is moving towards a very clear path. First thing, they want to tax you on cryptos. This is number one, so that they have records of people who are transacting, and they will definitely start looking at it from terms of regulation, other things. Second step. Third thing is what they may look at it, whether to ban it or not. But Cryptos, this is what I've been telling Deepak ji, and this is what is my fundamental view. These are two things. A sovereign country has certain grammar. It cannot have private army, it cannot have private police, it cannot have private laws, it cannot have private currency. These are 4 लक्षण होते हैं. इस लक्षण को कोई हस्तक्षेप नहीं कर सकता है. If you start creating private army or private police, that means the sovereignty of the country is being threatened. So, cryptos, in my view, are private currencies which a sovereign government cannot accept. In fact, there was one Latin American country, El Salvador or somebody, which was trading in cryptos. I'm not very clear whether it's El Salvador or somewhere, but some.
El Salvador, right?
Okay. Then IMF has now come to a stage to help it. But one of the conditions is you should not deal with cryptos. So cryptos are not finding enough legal traction world over. It may find market traction. That is entirely a different thing. Market and legality are two different subjects. I will accept it as a market player, as a chartered accountant, but as a law student, I will not find it acceptable. So the point here is cryptos cannot find muster of a sovereign country. Dot. Now you may say, I don't regularize it, I regularize it, I have not created laws for it, I have created laws for it, there is no cyber security cell for it. All these are a matter of details. A sovereign country cannot allow it. Section 23 of the Contract Act, which is a contract opposed to public policy, is void. It may not be illegal, it's void. Okay, it's nullity. So in that condition, I would say that if I buy something from, say, Deepak ji, I pay 100 lakhs, and want to buy some cryptos from him, and God forbid he doesn't give me those cryptos, I cannot go to the court and say this contract has to be enforced because this is void. Whether it is illegal, whether there is a prohibition, that requires a complete set of regulation, prohibition of cryptocurrency act that has to come in, and then only it will happen. I don't see that happening. Government wants to allow this to happen, but instead of saying prohibited, they want to strangulate you so much that you don't get into it. And last 30 seconds now. The biggest bomb that I see in this budget is that when you go and file your income tax return and say, I made a profit of 1 lakh rupees, take this 30,000 rupees as tax, and you think you have done your job, before you reach home, you will get notice from ED because all these are gross violation of FEMA. So, in fact, the reason why I was delayed to your meeting to this meeting by a few minutes was because I was discussing on this point on FEMA very vehemently with my colleagues about how FEMA will blast in your face. So, fasten your seat belts, first get taxed, and before you can relax, you will be hit by FEMA notices.
So, they talking of legality and FEMA and arrest under FEMA. So, Jain sahab, aap bataiye. How do you look at this as a police person? आपका माइक बंद है.
मैंने कहा मेरे को आप दूसरे फोन से एडमिट करिए इन द
मैंने मना कर दिया था उसमें. मुझे लगा अच्छा उसमें करूं. आप बात कर सकते हैं. आ रही है आवाज आपको?
आ रही है ना? अच्छा. हाँ जी. इसमें ऐसा है कि अगर देखिए जो अभी वेंकटेश जी ने बोला है बिल्कुल सही है कि इवेंचुअली द गवर्नमेंट इज गोइंग टू मेक इट सो डिफिकल्ट बिकॉज ये सारी चीजें इलीगल हैं आज की डेट में. उनको हालांकि उन्होंने बोला है कि इनकम तो आज अगर आप सट्टा से भी करते हैं या गैम्बलिंग से भी करते हैं, इवन दैट इज सपोज टू बी टैक्स्ड बिकॉज आपकी इनकम जो है वो कैसे आती है वो इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है. आपने इनकम के ऊपर टैक्स दे दिया, टैक्स देने के बाद में फिर आपने
आपका दूसरा ऑन हो रहा है.
अभी आया क्या आवाज? आपकी
आ रही है. दूसरा ऑन हो गया. आप एक बंद कर दीजिए. दूसरा मैंने ऑन
कर दिया. आ रही है क्या आपकी? इस पे आवाज आ रही है क्या आपको?
नहीं, दूसरे से नहीं आ रही, इसी पे आ रही है जिससे आप बात कर रहे हैं.
Keep it flowing.
हाँ जी. ऑडियो अब कनेक्ट हो रहा है. हाँ जी, हो गया.
अभी हो गया ना? अभी इज इट ओके नाउ?
बढ़िया.
आई एम सॉरी, वो दैट फोन वाज गिविंग अ लिटिल प्रॉब्लम.
कोई बात नहीं. Just
मैं ये कह रहा था
information, he is outside with family, but he still agreed to come on the program. So we must thank him for that. So also bear with his disturbances because we are disturbed him more than he has disturbed us. हाँ जी जैन साहब. So legal illegal की कहानी सुना के आप सारे शेयर मार्ट की गिरा दे गए हैं. MR वेंकटेश और जैन.
देखिए लीगल इलीगल की कहानी सिर्फ इतनी है कि पुलिस के पास में कोई वेर विदल आज की तारीख में नहीं है क्रिप्टो करेंसी के बारे में। आई कैन से इट विद अथॉरिटी। अभी हम लोग ग्रेजुएट हो रहे हैं धीरे धीरे साइबर क्राइम की तरफ। बड़ी मुश्किल से एक अभी जो दीपक जी ने बताया कि उन्होंने 8 स्टेट्स में साइबर लैब एस्टेब्लिश किए। हमारे यहाँ पे साइबर लैब शायद देश में पहला साइबर लैब था जो नेस्कॉम की हेल्प से हमने एस्टेब्लिश किया था। एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट वी कुड मेक अ फेयरली गुड हेडवे इनटू दैट डायरेक्शन। लेकिन धीरे धीरे वो नेस्कॉम की पार्टिसिपेशन कम हो गई, लेकिन लैब थोड़ा सा इंडिपेंडेंट हो गया, तो अभी वो साइबर क्राइम का काम ठीक चल रहा है। लेकिन इफ यू आस्क मी अबाउट द एफिशिएंसी ऑफ दैट लैब, तो अगर हमारे पास में 1000 कंप्लेंट आती हैं तो उसमें से 950 कंप्लेंट्स या तो रजिस्टर नहीं होती या उनकी कॉग्निजेंस नहीं ली जाती। हमारे पास में वेर विदल नहीं है उनकी इंक्वायरी करने की, इन्वेस्टिगेशन करने की, ऑफेंस दाखिल करने के बाद। तो मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि ये जो क्रिप्टो करेंसी वाला जो एरिया है, जो अभी बिल्कुल हम तो बहुत ही नेसेंट स्टेज पे हैं, अभी तो लोगों ने समझना शुरू किया है। इनफैक्ट आज आपने मुझे बताया कल के इस तरह की आपकी डिस्कशन है, तो मुझे भी थोड़ा जाके नेट के ऊपर इधर उधर पढ़ना पड़ा कि क्रिप्टो करेंसी के बारे में लॉ एनफोर्समेंट एजेंसी की भूमिका क्या होनी चाहिए। तो अगर आप नीचे के लेवल पे जाएंगे तो आपको जीरो इंफॉर्मेशन मिलेगी। जो अभी जो दीपक जी ने बताया कि और वेंकटेश जी ने बताया, पुलिस के पास में कोई वेर विदल नहीं है कि हम इस तरह के ऑफेंसिव का इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर सकें। लेकिन एक चीज जरूर बहुत जरूरी है कि जैसे मैं आपके एक पहले एपिसोड में मैंने सुना डिस्कशंस में, इमीडिएटली जरूरी है कि इसके बारे में एक लॉ और सेट ऑफ रूल्स बनाया जाए। अमेरिका जैसे देश में अभी उन्होंने एक नेशनल क्रिप्टो करेंसी एनफोर्समेंट टीम बना दी है। उसी की तर्ज के ऊपर कुछ एजेंसीज को मिला के, जिसमें आरबीआई हो सकती है, जिसमें मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ फाइनेंस के लोग हो सकते हैं, जिसमें बाहर से एक्सपर्ट लेने बहुत जरूरी हैं जिन्होंने इस फील्ड में काफी काम किया हुआ है। तो ऐसे लोगों को लेके एक ऐसी टीम बनानी चाहिए जो देश में इस चीज की कहीं शुरुआत कर सके। ये देखिए, जैसा अभी वेंकटेश साहब ने बताया है कि लोग डिक्लेयर ही नहीं करेंगे। आपने डिक्लेयर करने का रास्ता खोल दिया, लेकिन उसके बाद में लोगों को मालूम है कि मुझे प्रॉब्लम होने वाली है, तो डिक्लेयर कौन करेगा? इसलिए ये जिस स्टेज पे चल रहा है, जैसे चल रहा है वैसे ही चलता रहेगा। बहुत साल पहले मैंने गवर्नमेंट को रिकमेंड किया था कि जितनी हमारी हॉर्स रेसेस हैं उनकी उसको आप लीगलाइज कर दीजिए। तो हॉर्स रेसेस के ऊपर लोगों ने बेटिंग करनी है, लेकिन उससे कुछ रेवेन्यू आ जाएगा, लेकिन वो एक अलग फील्ड है। क्रिप्टो करेंसी को आप टैक्स लगाने जाएंगे तो उसके साथ में इतनी सारी प्रॉब्लम इंडिविजुअल इनवाइट करेगा कि आपके पास में डिक्लेयर करने के लिए कोई आएगा नहीं। जो ब्लैक मार्केट और जो पैरेलल इकोनॉमी उसकी चल रही है वो वैसी चलती रहेगी। और आज की तारीख में जितने लोग इन्वेस्ट करते हैं वो सिर्फ एक बहुत ही गैम्बलिंग के तौर पे उसको करते हैं। समझ किसी को आ नहीं रहा, लेकिन बहुत सारे लोग इसमें इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं। और जो इसका सही फायदा उठा रहे हैं गलत सेंस में, वो लोग ऐसे हैं जिनके पास में बेपनाह पैसा है, या जो बड़े पैमाने पे इस पैसे को एक जगह से दूसरी जगह पे ट्रांसफर करना चाहते हैं। उन लोगों पे हाथ डालने के लिए आपके पास में अगर कोई टेक्निकल एक्सपर्टीज है ही नहीं तो आप करेंगे क्या? बहुत मतलब वो केस बनेगा नहीं, बनेगा तो छूट जाएगा। इंडिविजुअल सबसे पहले इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग एजेंसीज के पास में एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है, फिर हमारे पब्लिक प्रोसिक्यूटर्स उससे भी 2 नॉच नीचे हैं, और तीसरा हमारे जजेस जिनको इस बारे में बिल्कुल ज्ञान नहीं, उनको एजुकेट करना बहुत जरूरी है। तो हमारा जो क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम के सारे पहलू हैं, जब तक उनको इन्वॉल्व करके इसको हम नहीं करेंगे तो मुझे लगता नहीं कि इस फील्ड में हमारे को कोई बहुत ज्यादा सक्सेस मिलने वाली है। लेकिन एक चीज है इंडिया में सिल्वर लाइनिंग, अच्छे भले पढ़े लिखे लोग जो हैं वो भी अभी क्रिप्टो करेंसी के बारे में जानने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। इसलिए उसका यूज कोई बहुत ज्यादा बड़े पैमाने पे क्राइम सिंडिकेट्स ने करेंगे या वो ग्रास रूट लेवल पे पहुंचेगा, इसके बारे में भी मुझे शंका है। उसको पहुंचते पहुंचते बहुत समय लग जाएगा। और तब तक अगर हम लोगों ने ठीक शुरुआत कर दी और कोई इस तरह की टीम बना के फिर उसका सेटअप बनाना शुरू कर दिया, तो शायद जब तक ये हिंदुस्तान में ये जिस पैमाने पे पहुंचेगा ये ऑफेंसेस की मात्रा, तो तब तक हम लोग भी थोड़े से सक्षम हो जाएंगे उसको टैकल करने के लिए। मेरा इसके बारे में इतना ही बोलना है। लेकिन आज के दिन पूछेंगे तो पुलिस एजेंसीज के पास में इंटरनली इसके बारे में एक्सपर्टीज नेक्स्ट टू नथिंग है। मैं कम से कम महाराष्ट्र पुलिस की तो बात कर सकता हूँ।
Maharashtra police is one of the most progressive police. They don't have, I think, any other police could have that information. Maybe
Delhi is doing pretty well. देखिए दिल्ली ने क्या कर दिया, दिल्ली ने कभी वेबसाइट बना दी दिल्ली पुलिस ने। उन्होंने आपको बता दिया कि अगर आपको अपनी ऑफेंस दाखिल करवाना है, किसी एफआईआर दाखिल करवानी है, तो ये आपके पैरामीटर्स हैं। आप ये पैरामीटर लेके इन्फॉर्मेशन लेके हमारे पास में आइए तो हम इसमें कार्रवाई करेंगे। हमारे पास में महाराष्ट्र में तो वो भी नहीं है। तो मैं ये नहीं कहूंगा कि इस मामले में महाराष्ट्र पुलिस कोई बहुत आगे है। हमारे पास में आउटसाइड रिसोर्स बहुत अच्छा है। बहुत सारी अच्छी
No,
सॉफ्टवेयर कंपनीज हैं,
in
आईटी
fact,
कंपनीज
Deepak Kapoor has been assisting a particular state government in South. I won't disclose because that is his, a part of his work. But
हैं.
that state government is trying to put everybody in the police into this mode of understanding cyber crimes and cyber issues. So before I go to Deepak, I will like to add another issue to this. We are talking of what are the pitfalls. We started talking about pitfalls, but there is a news which has come just one day back. It is US Department of Treasury published a study on the felicitation of money laundering and the finance of terrorism through trade in works of high value art. This study examined art market participants and sectors of high value art market that may present money laundering and terrorist financing risks to the US financial system, and identified efforts that government agencies, regulators, and market participants could undertake to further mitigate the laundering of illicit process through the high value art market in the United States. ये नया रास्ता खुला है. These include high dollar value of transactions, transportability of goods, long-standing culture of privacy and the use of intermediaries, and also, very interestingly, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, which are the new craze on net, are also becoming a very useful channel for transfer of funds. And we can always talk about, of course, the narco trade, etc. All the payments through dark webs are already done through crypto coins. Jain Saab, you may be aware of this. So having this background with recreational drugs, with NFTs, with art market, what are we facing actually once we get into the digital mode of transactions, which whether we get into complete transactions of cryptocurrency or not, we do not know yet. As Jain Saab has said, as MRV has said, that we are far behind in that yet. But still, the way that people have adopted, there are more than 1 crore users, or 11 crores. Deepak, what's the number?
It's very large because, see, I think the grey market is not known. So I don't know if it is 11 crores or 21
people
crores.
who are dealing with their own bank to deal in crypto, they might be in the net sooner or later. But those who are using different methods, because there are offline methods also now, in that case, how to look at the entire scenario? Deepak.
So I'll just go back. When you started the discussion and you passed on the question of cryptocurrency taxation, I have a small point to make, which I think MR has already addressed. But to put it in a different way, people are peddling lies. They are saying that crypto legal ho gaya. So MR has already clarified. I don't need to revisit the issue. He's already told us that crypto legal नहीं हुआ है. हमारे देश में if there is an illegal transaction also, तो पहले अपना टैक्स दे दो, उसके बाद बात करेंगे लीगल था कि नहीं था, वो सब बाद में देखेंगे. If any money or any funds are found in any illegal activity also, the first thing that the government does is takes a tax on that and then asks you कि भाई आपने क्या गलत क्या सही किया. So my understanding of things is that till it is explicitly said by the government of India with regulations, with all the rules, with the compliances, I do not consider that the government has yet legalized cryptocurrency in any way. They've simply, it's just going to attract a tax on whatever you profit from. That's
but
one
then
point.
Why suddenly trade has gone through the roof? Why suddenly prices have gone up of cryptocurrencies if that is the case?
You will have to look at a lot of examples. This is all rigged. I will just go back to one of the other discussions that we had on your channel with you. I think, if you recall, we spoke about Dubai coin. In less than 48 hours of being launched, that new coin, Dubai coin, and people were confused because of the name itself. It took so much of time for the Dubai, the government and the administration there to dissociate themselves. कि हमारा नहीं है ये. Within 24 hours, it was launched at 13 cents, a unit of Dubai coin. And within 48 hours, I think it was trading at $1.378. And in less than 18 to 19 days, most of the people who invested money in the first go, which I consider as scamsters, they had withdrawn all their money and left the rest of the people on the street. And within a month of the launch, Dubai government, the government came out and said that we have nothing to do with it. And the entire company and the coin, the exchange, everything went bust to a technical mathematical value of 0.00 gone. So just to answer what you asked in a roundabout way by an example. So these are the things that are happening. One, we do not know the volume that you were just discussing, 11 crores or 21 crores. We don't know. We have to track it. And I've always maintained that the biggest policy initiative or the focus for policy on cryptocurrency should not be the finance ministry, should not be the RBI, even though it is the Indian sovereign currency that is attracting illegality or it is being attacked upon. Irrespective of the fact, the focus should be on tracking transactions. I'm saying it today, and it will become even more pronounced in the future, because a lot of people today. I am personally, I know of cases where people have taken, where they've made software, uploaded on the cloud to one of the whoever the client is abroad, and taken money in crypto. What are you going to do? Now today this is not publicized that much, or people haven't adopted it. God forbid if a large part of the people start adopting it, because I think the taxation rates in India are not very low. So I think there is a certain incentive for the wrong kind of people to avoid tax. If tax avoidance be the guiding factor for some people, even legitimate businesses will start to do this. Now, if that is done in a big way, please tell me, will we achieve the 5 trillion goal? And these are all smaller and small to medium businesses who are doing it. The kind of volumes that it generates by word of mouth. अच्छा मैंने किया तो नहीं कर रहा, तो हो गया कम. This is how it is proliferated, and God forbid this part also proliferates like this. So I maintain, fortunately so, Sharda ji did not mention it, but I will mention it, since I am not in any helping the government in any formal capacity. We are helping, the Chinese. We were involved. I can't say that we are helping, but we were involved in a certain way. We did have a lot of very very huge numbers of people from various state police involved in that China betting and casino scam, in which almost 4.3 crores, somebody admitted, a boy from Surat, that he had made payoffs for winnings on the casino in cryptocurrency. So he broke maybe in questioning or something, and that's how it came. A lot of 3 Chinese people were arrested from my own town, Gurgaon. Uh, People were found in, links were found in Noida. But what has happened after that? So, but the most amount of work that I can, it's a matter of satisfaction that we've already done 3 very, very extensive online interactions with CFSL labs. And I'm all praised for Dr. Jain, who heads CFSL labs. He got every state director, every time that we had an online discussion, and they did a very extensive, 2 hours each, 1.5 hours each, that kind of, 3 discussions that we've done. 40 people attending, 38 people attending, that kind of. So I feel that, the repository of the custodian of the entire issue should be the central forensic, should be the DFSS under Ministry of MHA. It's an autonomous body, and they should drive everything, and they should work very closely on this regard with RBI. There has to be a single pipe of data for all cryptocurrency. So, I mean, that can be the RBI. They can host that entire information. But, the forensics has to work very closely with RBI. We are living in a very different world. When I talk to some people, they cannot fathom what I'm saying. They cannot connect the two. Say, what is forensics got to do with RBI? And I tell them, wait for 2 years, you will see what it has to do. So without saying too much on this, I think I made my point strongly that, this is where we should be going. Forensics and the RBI, they should get together and we should track. If we start tracking, then we are already attacking most of the problems that we've discussed, including terror funding, this, that, everything. So once you know who's doing it, then it's easier for traditional policing to catch. And there is a certain element of cybercrime detection also, which will also come into play.
Thanks. Since the light is failing on Mr. Jain's side, so I'll ask Mr. Jain to make closing comments, then I'll move to M R Venkatesh. So, Jain sir, any closing comments on this discussion?
Yeah, I can only
From the point of view of law
agree with.
enforcer, from the point of law enforcer, and has knowledge of
जैसा मैंने कहा,
digitization, yeah.
Eventually the police force or maybe a small cell in every state police will have to be trained to investigate such cases, trail the coins, trail the currency, and probably get after these people. But there has to be a law in place. Today what happens is that even if you catch hold of somebody, the kind of law that will be prosecuting them under is some indiscreet law which will not cut much of an ice. So I think there has to be some system in place under which these people can be prosecuted right and proper. Otherwise, even the current set of laws are not sufficient for that. And after that, the capacity building in the police is something which I think we'll have to concentrate upon. May not be very big, but at least a beginning in terms of a small cell, which will be dedicated for this kind of a thing. One thing which I did not mention earlier, Ratanji, is this, that somehow in the police department, becoming a Thanedar or the SP of a district or the commissioner of a city is the be all and end all for all police officers. Nobody wants to get into these, highly specialized jobs, which they think that they are being thrown onto the sidelines. So it is somebody who's extremely dedicated, somebody who understands, who enjoys his job wherever he's posted. Only those kind of officers can probably take up challenges like this, and there are not very many of them. So most of the people still are into the mode of traditional policing, and their power comes only from the power of a danda. So they want to be always in that enforcement job. So unless we do that kind of a capacity building in the state police force, it is very difficult to expect anything from the department. I can dare say that.
Thank you so much for your very frank comments. I'd just like to add before he leaves that I am very amused in the TV channels when they try to box him into one side of the argument, which he doesn't allow himself to be boxed in. It's been always very objective. Thank you, Premji, because I think you may have to leave because of the light. In another 2 minutes, we'll close anyways. So there's a closing comment, last wind up from M R Venkatesh, because he's both a lawyer and a CA and also serious student of digital currencies. So M R Venkatesh, closing comments from you.
If I may just Ratanji, Ratanji just mentioned about the recent news less than a day back, or the US Federal Reserve, where art NFTs are being used to as a under the shadow of that they are using that to transact.
So secret hawala.
Secret hawala. There's a how I would love to hear your views. Both as a finance professional, a chartered accountant, as well as the lawyer.
The first thing is, let me read out the GARG committee, which looked into this issue of cryptocurrencies and fintech issues. It said it recommended to ban cryptocurrencies. This was after the Supreme Court indirectly legitimized cryptocurrencies. There was a judgment in 2017 or 18. Then the GARG committee was appointed. The GARG committee further put forth its concerns regarding ballooning of cryptocurrencies in its report and stated that nearly all virtual currencies issued abroad, with a huge number of people in India investing in them, and also stated all these cryptocurrencies have been created by non-sovereigns and in the sense entirely private enterprise, and there is no underlying intrinsic value in these cryptocurrencies, due to which they lack all the attributes of a currency. So this is what the GARG committee said as far as crypto is concerned. This is the official stated view of the government of India at this point in time. So let us not move away from the central point. Now, what was your question, Kapoorji, about this US Federal Reserve?
A lot of people they are using non-fungible tokens.
Yes.
And they are making it as a front. They are actually self-financing their own art. They are getting the artist, telling them that every time this is traded, you will get a royalty. They are doing it through smart contracts, so his interest is secured. Nobody can change that. And these artists are coming, and because of that, the group is growing.
Non-fungible tokens of drawing some cartoons and then trying to sell it, obnoxious to say the least. And this is all selling for $100,000, $200,000, mind-boggling amount. And luckily, the Section 247 capital A of the Income Tax Act, which has been amended and introduced with the finance bill, also includes non-fungible tokens. So they have taken care of all these things, and they have said that. But again, the larger point is, all these are digitalized, which means...
MR, my point is,
Yeah.
Whether in this budget we have put cart before the horse by first saying taxation rather than putting our loopholes in play, closing the loopholes, etc.
I exactly coming to that. They have said, let us first tax it. This government wants revenue, so they have gone about the taxation part. As far as banning or thinking about cryptocurrencies being used as a money laundering vehicle, even today, at this point in time, forget the state police and other things. Even the enforcement directorate doesn't have mechanism to attach cryptocurrencies. They are finding it difficult. What they are doing is using the threat of arrest under Section 52 and Section 53, asking people to sell their cryptocurrencies, bring back the money into India, credit it to their account, and then attach it. So this is what they are actually doing. So this is, as Jain Saab said, Lati Chalana bahut acha lagta hai police ko. This also is for the enforcement director. They are not able to grab it because we can't joke about it. It's the nature of the beast. The third thing is, where is this crypto? Now, please understand, it is not within India. Under the OECD guideline of income tax, if you see, this is not in India. This is in either in cloud or in some digital farm or in some server farm outside of India. So when you sell me crypto and I buy from you, even if you pay in rupees, the crypto is outside of India technically, and we are violating FEMA. So you cannot purchase an asset outside of India, even between two residents, taking it to a rupee transaction when the asset is outside India. So these are all technicalities that will flow. So as you said, whether the government has placed the horse in front of the cart or cart in front of the horse, the government doesn't know which is the horse and which is the cart. That is the problem. So you are presuming the government to know.
But is it the condition with all the countries or only India?
See, I'll tell you. In 2000,
the report I showed you was from US department. So even they are struggling.
Every government is struggling. It is not India is struggling, but my view is this requires a concerted act by G20. G20 जाकर बहुत कुछ they wax eloquence about monetary stability, all these things. Monetary गई तेल लेने, fiscal गई तेल लेने. अभी ये 800 pound gorilla आपके घर के अंदर आ गया है. So you better think about talking to all these G20 nations. Think about, if you may not be able to ban porn, please understand. But you can control it by a significant... Exactly. You make life miserable for people watching porn. So how do you do it? You ask ISPs to cut it out. You track down various exchanges which are doing it. You track down on FEMA and income tax. So these type of things, if you start doing, there will be control, but it will not annihilate. There are people who will still do it for the sheer pleasure of trading in cryptos. So you may have to talk about a banning law, which is very difficult because given its technical moorings. So it's going to be a huge challenge. So I also understand, I want it, but if you ask me how to do it, I don't know how to do it. So I require some more time. But I am saying government देर आया, दुरुस्त आया है, at least taxation के side में, शायद इस साल में कुछ ना कुछ हो जाएगा इसमें और कुछ.
So we'll close on a positive note that we are conscious of what is going on. We are as puzzled as the world is about what is happening, and it needs a global effort and not isolated effort just by India. But we are on the right track, and people who feel that digital currency or cryptocurrency has become legal and we can trade freely, think again.
Absolutely.
Close the talk. Thank you very much, Prem Jainji, because you have taken time off with the family and we disturbed you. So thank you so much. Thanks, MRV, always busy but always ready to talk about crypto and all that. He doesn't like cryptos of any kind, so good. And there is Deepak Kapoor, of course, who is driving this entire interesting episodes. Thank you, Deepak. So
thank you so much for having us.
Hanji?
Sure. I said thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.